A new Dragon Ball James. There is a new Dragon Ball game that just came out 2 days ago. It's in its public testing phase. The game just shut down today and it will release on the 13th of December or the 14th of December. I'm gonna leave the link to the game in the description as well as the Discord if you want to go and check that out. I'm always very interested when another Dragon Ball game drops on a platform because I get to play and compare it to Dragon Soul. Recently, I've been playing Dragon Generations and I've been having a lot of fun. If you've been there in the streams, you would know. Trying to get my path, all of that has been a great experience. The Dragon Generation videos is coming soon. But now back to Zenkai Warriors. This game has been in development for I think 3 years, I'm not too sure. I heard about this game last year and I finally got to play it 2 days ago on the release of the public beta test. Now, I will warn you, there were a couple red flags. Before I even played the game, I had watched the trailer, and the trailer for the whole game, the playtest, was a minute long. That was the first red flag. And the trailer just wasn't that great. Half of the trailer was transformations of all the different races, and the next half was just combat. And since I've played the game, I can tell you that the trailer really does sell the game short. There is much, maybe not much more, but there is definitely more that meets the eye than just what is presented in this trailer. This trailer is really bad, and I think a lot of people can resonate what I'm saying with, as if we go to the comments right now, Zenkai Origins 2.0 looks like a 2-week game. This is a diabolical comment. Yeah, go ahead and keep this one in the studio. And it has 16 likes too, bro. Oh, this is bad. I thought I was the Dragon Soul V too. Wait, yeah, what are we talking about, bro? I mean, not to say there aren't people who are excited and thought the trailer was good. We've got It Was Worth the Wait with some flames, fire with 73 likes. You know, something that I've come to notice in a lot of other Dragon Ball game communities is that they all share the same sentiment that Dragon Soul is buns and just terrible. The worst Dragon Ball game on the platform is just dirt. And even within Dragon Soul's community, they also share the same sentiment, which is actually, I don't understand like where this came from. Like, can someone please explain to me like why people think Dragon Soul is such a bad game when it's the most popular game, when it's the most popular Dragon Ball game on the platform. So now let's actually talk about the gameplay experience. First of all, you don't choose your race. You spawn into the game and you're assigned a random race, and if you want to change your race, you have to spin for it. And one of the head devs of the game came into my stream as I was playing live, and when I asked him about this, even he didn't seem too keen on the idea that you have to spin for your race. Now granted, to get the rerolls, you don't have to spend your Robux, you have to grind for the in-game currency, and all of the races are the same rarity. That's what I was told by the dev. They have the same rates, and from what I've seen, there are no crazy broken advantages to any race. It seems the significance of races is to spec into different stats. So what I mean by this is each race has its own specialization. So Martian has strength, Saiyan is more balanced, High is ki power, I believe, and so on. I said every race has equal rates. That was a lie. There is this one race that has a 1% chance of getting it, which is the Angel race. I have no idea what specialization it has, what kind of stats it has, but for it to be 1% and you have to pay for these rerolls is quite crazy. But let's actually get into the real gameplay. When you first load into the game, you talk with Chi-Chi and she gives you your first mission, which is to kill 6 bandits. Oh, and just a quick heads up, there is at least one core issue in every stage of progression that I'm going to talk about in this video. So now when you're speaking with Chi-Chi, she gives you the quest to kill the 6 bandits. Where's the 6 bandits, you may ask? That is a brilliant question. Well, for starters, the indicator for the bandits location does need to be more noticeable because I struggled to find it for a good 30 seconds. And also the placement of these lower level bandits, the first NPCs that you encounter are in a terrible location. And this game suffers from the same issue Final Stand Remastered faced earlier in its release, where just flying past or being near an NPC would make them aggro onto you. But what makes this game so unique is you can aggro multiple NPCs at the same time, and they will all attack you at the same time. So being a level 1, a level 0, flying over to the bandits, I encountered much higher level NPCs, making it near impossible to actually reach my quest. And the only option for me was to walk through the forest instead of flying, since these NPCs patrolled the skies and I couldn't get to my quest. But the combat itself is very fluid and it snaps to the closest NPC, which is a problem because, as I mentioned before, you can aggro multiple NPCs and they all attack you at the same time. You will snap to the next NPC and hit them instead of the NPC that you're actually locked onto. That's not it for the combat, but we'll come back to it later. The stat system. Chi-Chi does tell you a little bit about the stat system at the start, but when you're making these types of games, you have to assume that your player base will not read the text, so you have to make it apparent in the game how the stat system actually works. And even me, who did read what Chi-Chi said, was even confused about how the stat system actually works. The NPCs around the map that you kill give you combat points, and with those combat points you go into the training areas and spec into that specific stat through a minigame. To my knowledge, these minigames have no relevance to the amount of stats that it puts into a certain category. It just speeds up the amount of time it takes to train. Now, the whole idea of getting combat points and going to these various places just to increase your stats doesn't really sit right with me. It's new, I've never seen it before, but I just don't like it. It seems like a hassle just to upgrade a few of your stats. And the game has a limited amount of skills that you need a certain amount of stats and yen for. And I went an hour playing the game without meeting the stat or yen requirements to get any of the skills. So you mean to tell me an hour plus of gameplay and I can't use any skills in a Dragon Ball game? And I think the only real good thing that comes out of this is that the map is quite sizable and it forces you to go around the map and explore. And in any case, you'll just be staying in the same area and doing the same quest and killing the same NPCs. And on that point of quests, the quests don't tell you how much XP or combat experience you're gonna get. You actually have to do it, complete it, actually receive the combat points to actually know how much the quest gives you, which is again similar to Final Stand Remastered, which they changed over time. Now let's talk about the only thing that actually redeems the game, is combat system. Now when I was playing, when you would kill an NPC, it would linger there at 0% HP and wouldn't actually die. I don't know if they changed that now, but that was the case when I was playing. There's also a parrying feature in this game, but it's almost obsolete when these NPCs don't actually want to attack you. They just sit there and look at you. But now some actual positives. They do have some cool features in the combat. When you knock back an opponent, you can press X to Z vanish behind them and hit them, and then you can follow that up with Z, which after the second knockback you can fly over to the opponent and carry on your combo. Doing this was quite fun and enjoyable once I figured it out, but discovering that this mechanic is actually a thing took me a while and should be made clear in some kind of tutorial when the game actually does release. The skills also, when you do get skills, they are also very interesting and cool. Outside of that, I really didn't get the opportunity to really try out the combat properly. As soon as I had all the skills and I was testing them out, Dragon Soul dropped an update and I had to leave. But the PvP was definitely the saving grace of this game and what the game definitely excels at. As you saw from the trailer, it's mostly just combat. But thank you to Relvis, one of the head devs, for giving me all of those skills and the weapons. There is no way I would have got half of those things by myself. This would have been a very short video if he didn't give me all of those things. But that is it for this video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.